I, female 30, have a bad relationship with my brother, Tom. They call him Tommy, 34. He's disabled, blind, and his condition has always been used as an excuse for how he treated me growing up. My parents always said he's struggling, and I should be sympathetic to his circumstances, but he has anonymously, been admitted it, called CPS on me. I have a preteen daughter. He did it after I refused to pay for one of his surgeries from my grandfather's inheritance money. I instead used the money for my daughter's private education. She has a learning disability, and public schools here were awful in how they treated her. And on the divorce with my ex-husband, who cheated on me. And now I have an open file with CPS, despite being cleared of all accusation. I kept my distance and am now engaged to my fiancé of 3 years and just had my baby boy. I'm on good terms with most of my family. They visited my son many times and started trying to talk me into letting Tom visit to meet my son. I refused and made it clear, but they kept pushing. Yesterday, my parents came to visit, and when I opened the door, I was shocked to see they had brought Tom with them. He was sitting in the car waiting. I snapped and asked my parents why they brought him, and they started begging, saying Tom deserves some grace and understanding due to his circumstances, and that he longed to meet his nephew. I was so upset I was caught off guard like that. In response, I said, "No, he's not allowed to meet my son after everything he's done. It's not like he could see him anyway." Tom heard that, and my parents gasped. They started arguing with me after Tom started crying. My fiancé joined the argument and tried to break it. He told me to go inside and he talked to my parents and they left. It was horrible. The whole family found out and started shaming me for mocking Tom's disability and making him feel hurt to the point of crying. My parents are livid with me, calling me all sorts of unhinged names and demanding that I apologize. And my fiancé said he understood my anger, but what I said was unacceptable. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He called CPS on you over money? Time to drop your parents if they're so adamant about making you let their golden child meet your son. For anyone coming after you, tell them to screw off because he had done irreversible damage to you. Open CPS case? Just because he threw a tantrum when you refused. I spat my water when she said that it's not like he can see them anyway. Sorry if that makes me an idiot, but damn, I'd never recover from that one. Dude knows he messed up. Insults are fair game, in my opinion, on anyone trying to separate a good parent from a child for no other reason than a false sense of entitlement. I'm visually impaired, and I thought that was a well-deserved comeback for this situation. If Tom's disability is his resource to manipulate situations, then it's open game to use it as a boundary. He called CPS once, and I wouldn't put it past him to do it again. Protect your family, OP, and cut all contact with the whole family. And has he ever apologized to OP for calling CPS? Did he let CPS know there was no issue? I wouldn't even be in his presence until these two things were done. What have the parents done to force the brother to be better? I would give the parents a long time out. Considering she still has an open CPS case, I assume he never did call to say he falsely reported as a revenge tactic. Considering that's a crime, and he would have had to face the consequences for his actions. I wouldn't put it past the brother to come up with a new false claim and revenge now. Oh, OP, what a comment you threw at him. Rude much? Sure. Well-deserved? Absolutely. If Tom were concerned you were neglecting your daughter, he would have told your parents about it and a course of action. Heck, maybe even talked to you directly. But calling CPS? Just because he didn't get money? Nah, sis, that man deserves no place in your kids' lives. As a mom, your direct family consists of your kids and your partner, and you protect them at all costs. Good on you for not giving in. This is going to sound so ridiculous, but here goes. I'm a 29-year-old female getting married to Terrence, 30 male. We've been together 8 years and are very much in love and perfect for each other in all ways. Our wedding is scheduled for September, and wedding planning has been going great. The only argument we've had over it is the subject of this post. Since Terrence and I met and started dating during our college production of Moulin Rouge, a musical. When we got engaged, I immediately suggested that our first dance be to Come What May, the romantic duet between the two main characters. It perfectly encapsulates our relationship and how much we love each other. We're both huge fans of the musical, and when I suggested it to Terrence, he loved the idea. However, Terrence recently came to me to tell me that his friend Ian, also 30 male, offered him $3,000 to prank me during our first dance by switching out Come What May for God's Plan by Drake. Specifically, Come What May would play for around 30 seconds, and then it would switch to the part where Drake says, "She says, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry," which I think is really tasteless for the first dance at a wedding. Ian works at a high-paying corporate job and also gets an allowance from his rich parents, and his sense of humor is mean, so it makes sense he would offer something like that. Ian also told Terrence not to tell me, but Terrence wanted to tell me anyway because he felt I deserved to know. I thanked him for telling me and started talking about how to confront Ian, but Terrence got sort of quiet, and when I asked him what was wrong, he said we should consider doing it, and I would just pretend I had no idea. He said that $3,000 could help pay for our honeymoon, and we could invest it. I was angry that he'd even consider doing it because it would be A, humiliating, and B, Come What May has meaning to both of us, and I want our wedding to be about us, not Ian's stupid prank. Terrence begged me to at least consider it because it would just be one moment of our wedding, but I said that I wanted our wedding to be a celebration of our love, not as a ploy to get money. Terrence then got quiet, told me he wanted alone time, and went to our room. I texted my brothers for advice, and both said they understood where I was coming from, but that I was being unreasonable and a bridezilla to not even consider it since $3,000 is a lot of money. I'm starting to think I might be an idiot because I guess our first dance isn't the most important thing in the grand scheme of life, and $3,000 would really help us out. But on the other hand, I just don't want one of the happiest days of our lives to be soured by a dumb prank. So, am I the idiot for not wanting the first dance to be ruined? No, not the idiot at all. Some things aren't worth the money, especially when it's degrading or could ruin an important moment. This does both. I think it would be funny if you were both into it and made it into a joke first dance, but even suggesting it as a prank on the bride is just vicious. You should be in on every joke or prank planned for your wedding day. I'm just trying to picture what this would look like if OP's fiance did this without telling her. Holy cringe. What, are you supposed to stand there in shock while the groom mouths the lyrics and dances alone? All for the prank of basically confessing he doesn't love you in front of all your friends and family. Your fiance's friend spends too much time on TikTok and has forgotten that moments last longer than 60 seconds and things can get very uncomfortable quickly. That friend is trash for suggesting that song as a prank. I don't agree with the idea of the prank at all, but there are other silly songs that he could have chosen but still upheld the love you and your fiance have. The fact that he picked a degrading one is inappropriate and shows what kind of person he is. I bet he wouldn't even pay up if your fiance went through with it. He would pull the, "It was just a joke. I never thought you'd do it." There's no guarantee he would keep his word. What's worse is this man is 30. That's nearly a decade past frat bro mentality. So what happens the next time Ian dangles money in front of your fiance's face for a prank? $3K at the wedding to tell her you don't love her in front of all her family and friends? $6K to cheat on her at the bachelor party? $10K to break up with her on social media by getting fake divorce papers? When do the pranks from this bully stop? And are there any limits to them? When will your fiance grow a spine and possibly grab his balls from Ian's wallet and stand up for you? I'm a 20-year-old female, and my fiance is a 23-year-old male. We bought a 90s car that needed some work. He got it fixed and he started driving me places in it. When I would ask or show I wanted to drive it, he got very upset about it. I never got to drive it, but his friends have. We ended up splitting up for a minute over it. I recently put a down payment on a 2022 Toyota Tacoma double cab. I went with my uncle to get it, and when I signed for it, I put it in my name, and my uncle co-signed for it. When I pulled in with it, he came outside smiling from ear to ear. He hugged me and thanked me for getting him his dream truck. I was trying to explain to him it was mine, but he had already jumped into it. He then saw the paperwork and asked if he needed to sign it. Before I could answer, he read whose name was on it. He slowly got out and went into the house. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. While I was at work, he texted me and said, "It's really disrespectful that you got my dream truck and didn't put it in my name. I'll be staying at my mom's tonight." I didn't respond. Later on, he sent me a pic of a GMC, asking if it was pretty. I said, "I don't like GMCs, but if he liked it, it's pretty." He said, "Well, doesn't matter. You got the Toyota." So I just left him on red. He has yet to come home, and I'm regretting getting the truck. So, am I the idiot? Edit. I forgot that my uncle co-signed because I don't have any credit yet. Where I got the truck, you have to have credit. My uncle has some great credit, so he was willing to sign. I saved up $4,000 to put down and get a loan. My uncle didn't mind doing it because I make roughly $1.2K every month. Plus, I have savings my grandpa put away for me. My grandpa said I could use it to pay for the car. I don't know how much is in it, but my grandpa said it could get me through life without worrying for a year or so. Not the idiot. I mean, who assumes you bought them a car? Get rid of them. Just because you're together doesn't mean things should be in your names. I'm married and my wife's car is in her name, and mine is in my name. It's okay to have things that you alone have ownership of. I wonder if he was banking an OP, not wanting to cause trouble and letting him have it, then letting her drive the old car. It makes the most sense to me. OP, why are you letting this happen? Why are you not standing up for yourself with this man? Why are you regretting buying a vehicle that you like? I really hate to be one of those people telling a stranger to end their relationship, but please reconsider marriage with this man. At the very least, postpone the wedding, if there's a date set already, and see about getting counseling, individual or maybe as a couple. Note, if he is abusive, then don't get couple counseling. Your fiancé sounds entitled, but what's a red flag for me is that he's being dominant and you're adopting a very submissive position. Why did you never get to drive the van you contributed to buy? He got upset, and that was it? You gave in? He allowed other people to drive your van but not you, and he got away with it? It's clear he doesn't respect you and thinks he can bulldoze you to get whatever he wants. If you marry him, this will only escalate. Keep the truck, lose the man. Some information before I get into the conflict. I, 25 female, am a former professional gymnast. I retired last year and now coach other aspiring gymnasts. Unfortunately, like many in my profession, I had to retire at this age range due to the strain of the sport, and I'm no longer my most flexible. I've been dating my boyfriend, 29, for 10 months. Unlike me, he isn't in the sports industry. He's a programmer. We went to a party tonight at his friend's house, and this was a good way for him to introduce me to everyone all at once, though I've met a couple of them. Most of them were really nice, and I got along with them, but a few got gross when they learned of my profession, and I'm sure many of you can guess the comments that followed. Speculation on my flexibility, our bedroom activity, etc. I was very uncomfortable with this, but my boyfriend just laughed along with them. I told them I was not too fond of that kind of talk, and it degraded my sport how people always jump to that. My boyfriend told me to relax, and they just meant it as a joke. And it continued until I told my boyfriend I was going home and left upset. He tried to stop me, but I told him his friends could enjoy their speculation with me gone. It's now nearly 1 a.m., and I'm at home upset and feeling crappy about the whole thing. My boyfriend has been texting me, saying I overreacted, how I embarrassed him, and how I should expect those kinds of comments. I usually have a thicker skin about this stuff. I've heard it all before. People often harass girls and women who are gymnasts, but I was stressed about meeting his friends and making a good impression, and then ambushed by this, so it got under my skin more than it usually would. I'm ignoring his text and not replying as I don't feel in a good frame of mind not to snap further. Should I have just accepted it and not stormed off? maybe tried to lead the conversation elsewhere. I feel bad for embarrassing him in front of his friends, but I was embarrassed at first. I wanted them to take me seriously as his girlfriend, not make me the joke of nasty speculation. Not the idiot. Boyfriend should have supported you, even if it was a simple, okay, knock it off, guys, or something. Instead, he laughed right along with them and got upset when you left after being what appears to be harassed by his friends. You're absolutely within your right to bite his head off for his behavior. You did nothing wrong, OP. You stood up to them, and he told you to let it go right in front of them. But of course they were going to continue. So he was basically telling them that it was okay to disrespect you. You are the company you keep. If a bunch of his friends are creepy chauvinists, chances are he is too. Honestly, him telling you that you should expect these comments shows how little he thinks of you. Respectful men would never think that you should expect to be harassed about your skills in the bedroom or degraded because you were a high-level athlete. Good men would be proud of your athletic skills and never put you down that way. You should not expect these comments from mature people. You deserve better than him. My 23 female, sister 32, and I were the product of an affair. Our father didn't want us around and our mom wasn't fit to take care of 2 kids. So my aunt took us in and gave us a better life than our mom would have given us. Along the way, my sister started to act out. First, she started stealing money from our aunt, and eventually, it got to the point where when I was 16, she and her boyfriend robbed us. My aunt stopped making excuses for her and disowned her. My sister constantly harassed my aunt by posting things about her on Facebook and spray painting her car or her and her friends egging it. This went on until my aunt died about 2 months later because of cancer. She didn't even care about her or anything like that, but asked if she was in the will, and if so, how much was left. I told her no, and that she didn't leave any money for anyone in the will. But I actually got a large amount of money. One of my cousins told her about the money, and she immediately jumped to asking for 50% of it because it was supposed to be hers. I told her no, and that she wasn't entitled to anything after how she treated my aunt, even after finding out about her cancer. Some family members are pushing me to give her a portion of it because she's my sister, and she meant just as much to my aunt. If my aunt were here, I know she'd call BS. My sister made the last years of her life stressful and tiring. Not the idiot. Nope, give her nothing. She is just an entitled brat, and if your aunt wanted her to have some of her money, she would have left her some. She deserves nothing. Make sure every penny is safely put away so that your sister can't steal it, maybe in various stocks, funds, bonds, or something. Your aunt didn't have to have a reason to cut your sister out, though obviously she had an excellent reason. Sister did not mean as much to OP's aunt as OP. Otherwise, that would probably have been reflected in the will. If anyone brings it up again, say she had her share early when she stole from my aunt. It may or may not shut them up, but it would be worth saying anyway. It would be disrespectful to your aunt for you to give your sister money. Your aunt did what she wanted to do. It's not the business of these family members as to whether or not you give them your money. However, if they're so worried about it, they can give your sister money. Your sister reaped what she sowed. Please don't give her a dime or she'll always be coming back for more. I, 36 female, have a daughter, Sadie, tween, with my ex-husband, John, 39. We divorced 5 years ago, and I have primary custody while he sees her 2 weekends a month. Last year, he married Amanda, who has sole custody of her kids, tween and pre-tween females from a previous marriage. Amanda is a stay-at-home mom, not for any health reasons or so on, she just doesn't want to work, while John works a 9 to 5. He makes good money to support them, but not enough to live in luxury. I have a much higher paying job. Since it's just Sadie and me, I make sure she has the best possible life. She goes to a private school, I set her up a college fund, and she has much better things than most kids, phones, clothes, etc. I still manage to raise her to be humble and not take things for granted, and she's one of the hardest working people I know, always ensuring good grades and keeping her room tidy. Well, the last few times she came back after a weekend at John's, I noticed that the clothes she was bringing back in her duffel were A, not her size, and B, much cheaper and poorer quality than I usually buy for her. I asked her why that is, and she told me that while she's at her dad's, Amanda takes her nice clothes and gives them to her kids, while Sadie gets the clothes from Target. I asked her if she wanted them back, but she says she doesn't mind sharing since she kept all her favorite clothes here. The problem came when I went to pick her up last weekend. I had a business meeting and couldn't drive her over, so Amanda offered to pick Sadie up from school, which hadn't happened before. When I got there on Sunday, John and Amanda asked me to sit down with them, and when Sadie came to hug me, Amanda sent her to her room quite harshly, saying her punishment wasn't over yet. I was confused because Sadie very rarely misbehaves. They sat me down in the kitchen and said that it was unfair for Sadie to go to a private school while her kids go to a public one. So they decided that Sadie would be pulled out of private school and put in the same school as the girls. They also said I should keep up Sadie's punishment because when they told her, she blew up at them and told them it wasn't fair and yelled that Amanda and her kids weren't even her real family, that all they did was steal. I told them in no uncertain terms to screw off. I would not be pulling my child out of a school she likes, away from her friends, because they can't afford it. I told them they could easily make as much money as me if Amanda started working in her field, because she has the qualifications and a good job market. I told them their money problems are not my issue, and if Sadie's items get stolen or they try to pull her out of school, I'll be taking this to court. They've been blowing up my phone ever since, calling me a selfish idiot, and after telling the story to a friend, he told me I was rubbing my success in their faces, but I still don't feel like I did anything wrong. Still, am I the idiot? I think as a loving mother, you know the answer deep down in your heart, not the idiot. And well done for protecting your daughter. Keep this mama bear mood switched on. Out of all the adults involved, you're the only one fighting your kid's corner. Your daughter needs your support in this situation. The only thing I would have done differently is I'd have taken them to court already for stolen clothes. You let it go, and now it keeps escalating because the real motive here is intense jealousy combined with laziness and questionable morality. To steal clothes instead of working? Meh, it makes me want to vomit. So you're paying for her education, and they want you to stop because Amanda's a bum? Good on you to tell them to screw off. Shame on them for using your daughter as a tool to hurt you. The clothes thing made me angry. Believe me, I can relate with my divorce, and it's ridiculous. But the private school thing? No way, no. The fact that your ex-husband and his wife are pieces of crap doesn't surprise me that is their reaction. But you have a friend that would respond that way is no bueno. Friends are supposed to have your back. You work hard for your success, and being successful is not rubbing it in someone else's face. Update. I contacted my lawyer, and we're starting the process of obtaining full custody. I'm taking Sadie to a therapist so I can get permission to keep her with me, at least until the courts make their decision. Her next visit isn't for another couple of weeks, so assuming that everything goes according to plan, she shouldn't have to go back there unless she wants to. I, female 34, have 2 kids, tween and young teen, with my ex, male 35. My ex and his partner of 6 years, Ava, female 31, are getting married in 3 weeks, and my kids are supposed to be junior bridesmaids for Ava. My kids are excited about being in the wedding and have loved picking out dresses and hairstyles, and I guess they also love Ava. I can't stand her. I feel that she often tries to mother them when they're staying with their dad and Ava. She leaves them with her family when both her and their dad are working during the holidays, and her family constantly refers to them as their grandchildren. They have their own grandchildren. My kids even call them Nana and Pop. Ava also doesn't back me up on issues I have with my ex regarding the kids and won't answer my calls or texts unless they're at their dad's. Aside from that, she ignores me because she shouldn't get in the middle of parenting issues. Ava also refuses to be alone with me when we do the drop-off and pickup. When I asked why, she said it's because I make her uncomfortable, as I'm always either running down my ex or saying all the crap he did in our relationship, or I run down their relationship. I admit to the first, but the second was when I told her he doesn't love her and he was using her to make me jealous, which was 3 years ago, and I had been drinking, and she's still holding that against me. I found out I was not invited to the wedding. I assumed I was at least invited because my kids were involved. When I got upset, my ex said he was going to get photos done of just the kids, and I could have a couple, but that he didn't want me there. I'm pretty angry about that, considering I should be invited at least to the ceremony. Am I the idiot for thinking of telling my ex and Ava that I don't want my kids to be at their wedding unless I'm there? You are the idiot. Why would you expect to be invited to your ex's wedding? Get over yourself. They, quite reasonably, don't want you there for obvious reasons. Do you ever stop to think about anyone other than your ego? And you sound ever so slightly unhinged. I feel so bad for Ava having to deal with you. There's absolutely no reason that they should invite you. And more to the point, you should not be there, full stop, because you only wish ill for them. I'd be afraid you'd be ready to start something. Your ex is your children's father. Ava is their stepmom. Her parents aren't part of the kids' lives, and they all have every right to be with them. So how is it bad to have more people who love and genuinely care for your children? Someone's not over the divorce. Also, if you continue to act this way, you're in danger of your children going no contact with you at some point in their lives. Please get therapy for the sake of everyone involved. Most importantly, your children. You don't have to like Ava, but you will have to coexist with her. I've been married to Stella for 7 years now. We have 5 children, daughters from my previous relationship, Kira and May, a son and daughter from Stella, Brianna and Jaden, and a son together, Lucas, toddler. My 2 are 50-50 custody, while my stepchildren only see their bio father every second weekend. My wife and I agreed to split finances and have mostly kept them separate, aside from a joint account for essentials, bills, grocery, house, etc. We both used to be high earners, though we had terrible hours. When our parental leave for Lucas was finishing, our children begged us not to go back to work, that they hated the before and after school care and wanted us. In the end, my wife returned, but I quit and got a new job. It was much lower pay, but essentially school hours, so I was able to be there for our kids. Stella's been paying more of our joint expenses, but otherwise it's been fine. I wouldn't say the split has been firm, though. I do buy stuff for my stepchildren, or pay when I take them all out. It's more the big payments that are separate. Brianna goes to a private high school. I was talking about high schools to my sister, since Kira is in year 6, and realized that I wouldn't be able to afford to send her with my sister on my current pay. My ex is barely willing to pay the cost of public school, let alone a private one. The school is so much better than the nearby public school, and I know Kira wants to go to her sister's school. So I tried to talk to Stella and asked if she would be willing to help. It's education and she's close with my daughters, so it's not like I'm asking her to pay for something crazy. Stella refused, and I would have accepted it, even though I was annoyed. But she went on to say that I knew we were split finances, and I made my choice when I took the lower paid job. I got more time for less money, so I can't complain that I'm paid less. I got pretty upset about that. I didn't stay home for fun. It was for our family, our children. I loved my job, but I had to sacrifice it for them. It was worth it, of course, but still. Stella said it was my decision, so tough luck, that she's not going to finance me. I got angry with that and told her that she knew the consequences of her job, so she could deal with her childcare then. Her money won't be used on mine, so I won't use my extra time on hers. They can stay in care until our old hours. Stella got angry back, accusing me of using her money and calling me a complete idiot for suggesting what I did for my stepchildren. We argued pretty badly. She thinks I'm being greedy, selfish, and petty, but it's not like I'm asking to mooch. I would still foot 50% and get my ex to contribute as much as I can get her to. Yes, it was my choice, but it was for all the children, for our family. Besides, I literally take care of my stepchildren more than my own, 85% versus 50%. I'm not just being lazy or focusing on my children. I've been there for them all. So I think it's unfair for her to refuse to even help a little. But obviously she thinks I'm being an idiot. You are the idiot. It is your and your ex-wife's responsibility to take care of your kids' education, just as it is your wife and her ex-husband's responsibility to take care of theirs. You aren't contributing anything to your stepkids' education. It is a low blow to deal your wife that you won't take care of her kids if she doesn't pay for your kids' education. If she wanted to play tit for tat, she could refuse to pay more than 50% of the bills and force you to get a higher paying job or even a second job. If you want your kids to go to private school, hit up your ex to pony up the money. So his time spent looking after her kids means nothing? Isn't it up to her to get her ex to provide childcare? If she's willing to take advantage of his lower paid job for her gain, and she doesn't have to pay for wraparound childcare, isn't he entitled to some compensation for that? If he were a woman who quit to take care of the kids, everyone would talk about how much work being a stay-at-home parent is and how her efforts aren't being recognized. No, because she's now paying more household bills than he is. You're the idiot, OP. Your wife is paying most of the bills because you decided to take another job. So it makes sense that you help her out with her kids. But she's not responsible for paying for your kids' private school. Your wife manages to pay for a family of 7 and pay for private school for her kid all on her own. Why would she sacrifice and pay for your kid because of the decisions you and your ex made? Grow up. You made a choice to have 3 kids and to take a less paying job. Okay, but you realize him taking the lower paid job for the better hours means he's also saving money for his kids when he has them and hers on childcare, right? It sounds like she's perfectly fine with the benefits this change brought them, but she doesn't want to deal with the trade-offs. On top of all of this, it's for a better quality education, not something stupid. So my 32 male, friend 31 male, and his wife 29 have been married for about 4 years, and over time she's become a good friend to me as well. She and I both studied the same thing in college and have a deep interest in said subject. I chose a different career path and she's still studying to get her PhD in this field. She asks for my opinion on things all the time, and we text every day. It's completely harmless. She scored some tickets to an event we're both interested in. She obviously asked her husband to go with her, but he had no interest. So then she asked me if I would go with her. The event included a nice dinner, and we both got dressed up for the event. I posted a picture of the two of us at this event, an utterly harmless picture of us sitting at a table smiling. Her husband, my friend, is mad. He had at one point asked me why I text his wife so much, and I told him why. She asked me for input on her work. He seemed satisfied with that and never really pushed the issue again. Well, until this past weekend. He told me I was an idiot for basically taking his wife on a date, which is not at all what happened. We hung out, that's it. We hung out as friends. The thing is, I like her a lot in a platonic way. I get along with her and I just don't see an issue with this. She doesn't either. I told him it's no different than him and me hanging out together. Am I in the wrong here? Am I an idiot for having a friendship with someone? Not the idiot. I have never understood this whole straight person can't have friends of the opposite gender thing. So bizarre. It's almost like straight people can't imagine a friendship without intimate attraction and action. Still, seriously, she asked him first. He wasn't interested and said no. So she asked you as she knew you would be interested. You went and both had a good time, and suddenly he's angry? All on him. Was your friend aware that you and his wife were attending this event together? Not the idiot, yet. But if you keep going at this pace, you will make your friend uncomfortable. This is something that your friend and his wife need to resolve within their marriage. So I would recommend taking a small step back. I would also make sure they both know your intentions are nothing more than friendship. Sometimes it's good to spell it out. This is how an emotional affair starts. You are the idiot. Come on, man, you used the phrase completely harmless twice in the span of 4 sentences. You're stammering through the keyboard. It seems like you have feelings for her, even though you vehemently deny it. You are the idiot for posting a picture of the two of you dressed nicely for an event alone. I can't see the pic, but based on the description, and I would love to see the caption, it probably comes off as a couple's date photo, which is inappropriate with your friend's wife. He said he was uncomfortable, and you're ignoring him. Even if you are in denial, it sounds like you have feelings for this woman, and she may also have feelings for you. Be ready for this to blow up in your face if you don't back off, OP. My wife, 33, and I, 34 male, have been together for about 7 years. She's a huge health nut, and one of the rooms in our apartment functions as a home gym for her to work out. Over the past few years, she's been spending more hours than ever working out and has managed to get herself visible six-pack abs and a pretty jacked body. On the other hand, I'm pretty skinny and barely ever work out. At first, I was completely fine with my wife's new looks, and she seemed extremely proud of herself. However, recently she's been wearing tank tops and crop tops when we go out in public, which I think she's doing to show off her muscles and abs. We sometimes get weird looks from strangers when we're outside together, and I feel uncomfortable because of this. I told my wife about how I felt, but she said just to ignore those people. Recently, my friends have also been taunting me by saying things like, "How does it feel knowing your wife could easily beat you up? And does your wife carry you to bed when you're tired?" This made me feel really ashamed of myself for some reason, so I decided to talk to my wife about it. I told her about what my friends were saying and asked her to lay down the weights for a while. She became a little angry as soon as I said this and replied that working out was her passion and she expected me to be more supportive of her. She said she wasn't going to bulk down just because of my insecurity. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Why are you not only friends with people who find it amusing to insult you, but prioritize their opinions over your wife's happiness? If you're unhappy that your wife is working out and is proud of her body, then don't be with her. She's correct. Your insecurities are not her problem, and you should be supportive of your wife. She's working out and bettering herself. When we're fat, we're shamed. When we're skinny, we're shamed. When we have muscles, we are shamed. When we do surgery, we're lazy. When we don't, we should do surgery. Men like you are living arguments to be lesbian. Has it not occurred to you that she wears crop tops because it's hot outside and wants to be comfortable? It's like you think everything she does is for male approval, as if she's living in a novel written by a man. That's incredibly disturbing. Your wife is a person, not an extension of you. She does not exist to satisfy your fragile masculinity. She's a human being as real as you, not a display object, a toy, or an ego boost. Appreciate your wife and upgrade your friends. Otherwise, she's going to divorce you.